over a breakup?
It was not a breakup! You need a relationship for one of those, and we never had that. And we never will.
What the heck was that? I don't know what to say, but I think I've waited long enough. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about Helluva Boss, or more specifically, Stolitz, aka the show's main pairing of Stolitz and Blitz, hence the name. The last O is silent. And we're mostly gonna cover it from season 2 onwards. Now, back before I reviewed South Park and the Seth MacFarlane shows, I reviewed The Owl House and Star Versus, and I sprinkled in there, every so often, a video on Helluva Boss. I mean, I did a video on Stella, and that's how her voice actress recognized me. She was really nice. Like, I know that, yeah, actors aren't the same as their characters, but it was cool. Like, she was using the same voice, and I love her as Lady Mingeworthy and Queen Elizabeth. Like, wow. One of those videos I made discussed Stolitz, and how, while it was a toxic relationship and an unequal pairing, that was the point. Or at least it was for me. The point was, it was two toxic, damaged people who loved each other, but needed to overcome their issues, both with each other and as people, before they were able to come to a point in time where they could be a loving couple, along the lines of, say, Ozzie or Fizzy.
Well, you know I can't say no to a face that cute.
That's why I use it.
Who seemed on the opposite to be like them. A relationship built around carnal relations, but at a point where they're able to work together as equals.
Yeah, because we're so not in love.
Yeah, love is stupid. Woo! That was close, huh?
And I said I couldn't wait for season 2 to continue this trend and for the pair to deconstruct. But then season 2 came and, well, it certainly overtook the narrative, so let's discuss. Stolitz is the main relationship of Helluva Boss next to Eminem, although with way more drama attached. Stolitz is a demon prince of the Ars Goetia, while Blitz is an imp, the lowest of the low in hell, and an assassin who kills humans for money on the behalf of angsty sinners. Originally, their relationship is built upon the idea that once a month, Blitz does the nasty with Stolitz in exchange for his magical tome to allow him to go to Earth, the Grimoire.
What did you just call me?
My book, Blitzy. The book I was given to do my job, that I have allowed you to use to do yours.
As it's the only way he can run his business, which yes, that is extortion and highly illegal and iffy, and if this were the real world, it would 100% be rape, because Blitz has to submit to whatever demands Stolitz wants, whether or not he wants to do it, but that's the point. Stolitz is unaware of his position, after all, which doesn't make it better, but hey. Throughout season 1, Blitz always kept Stolitz at arm's length, but Stolitz always managed to worm his way into his company, be it paying him to be a bodyguard just so he would have an excuse to take him to an amusement park and show him off.
We're assassins, not bodyguards, okay? Don't invite us unless someone's gonna die.
I'll pay you
Pay me what?
money.
Done!
While he's supposed to be spending time with his daughter, who is struggling with the impact her father's cheating is having on her and her home life, while the impact of her home life, aka said cheater, is staring her in the face, or telling Blitz he has to come with him to the Harvest Moon Festival, or he won't get to do anything with his book in the meantime, but framing it like a date.
I'm simply offering a work-free day of fun.
It does sound like it could be a blast.
Oh, I'm sorry your clients will have to wait.
Even if they barely actually hung out there. Typically, Stolitz would treat Blitz more like a talking, glorified plaything, and at one point literally calls him a plaything.
Who dare threaten my impish little plaything?
He was fond of giving him little pet names like Blitzy, petting him, squeezing his cheeks, and Blitz would always openly state how much he hated it, and that it wasn't cute.
The winners are Striker and my darling Blitzy.
Just say my name right!
To me, I think the main reason why Stolitz was doing this was because he was never in a relationship before where he was allowed to love the other person as anything more than a glorified womb. Plus, as we know from the Pride poster, Stolitz is gay, so I don't think he would have loved Stella in any case, and unfortunately, he has a tendency to think like a romance novel, so he likely just assumes this is what you're meant to do because, hey. Or he thinks that Blitz is playing hard to get. Doesn't mean any of this is right, but it is kind of funny, but that's why he does what he does. But there was always the open air that Blitz, perhaps deep down, did like Stolitz or had some sort of feeling for him, but just didn't know how to feel about him. Especially considering his vision in Truth Seekers when Stolitz literally has Blitz chained up while being fanned by two other versions of himself. Like, it actually makes you wonder later in the episode when he's like repaying Stolitz. Is he just playing his role? Is that like a trauma response because of what happened that night? Does he feel like, okay, I'm gonna be better to my friends, I guess I could be better to you, because I do like you deep down.
Very much so.
All right, but you're keeping quiet or I'm using those bear traps.
Oh, please do.
This all came to a head in Ozzie's, where Blitz is confronted by two of his exes whose lives he ruined, and Asmodeus, the King of Lust.
Did he just say Asmodeus?
Oh, no way. Not him.
Ozzie tells Stolitz how proud he is of him for sleeping around, even if he already has a wife and daughter, as Blitz was presumably ignorant to the fact that he was a homewrecker. And rather than defend Blitz, Stolitz just buries his face in a menu, which if I had to guess, I think it's because Ozzie embarrassed Stolitz in a room full of people, and he's way higher ranked, so Stolitz couldn't talk back to him even if he wanted to, or maybe like he felt like he couldn't, but to Blitz the damage is done. As far as he knows, Stolitz doesn't like him or love him. He just views him as a fun toy that ruined a loving family.
You know what? This was a mistake. All right, let's just leave.
Oh, right. Of course.
He takes Stolitz home, and Stolitz offers to let him come inside just to hang out. Nothing physical, no ulterior motive, just hang out. But Blitz refuses and reminds him that what they have is physical and nothing more.
Stolitz, don't act like what we have is anything but you wanting me. You make that really clear all the time, but I can't do it tonight, okay? I'm sorry.
While laying down this boundary, he also implies that he doesn't like how Stolitz treats him, but Stolitz agrees and seems to get the message for the first time in the series, calling Blitz by his preferred name, Blitz.
Good night, Blitz.
Night.
But things seem to end on a sour note for them. Now, I expected Season 2 to continue this trend, as that was a super disastrous episode, but in a good way, obviously. Perhaps Stolitz would realize if he wanted Blitz's love, he needed to prove that he loved him, and perhaps Blitz would realize that somebody did want to love him for him. Or maybe Blitz just goes into dissociation mode and just keeps pretending he's happy with their arrangement when really, it secretly makes him miserable to keep up such an act. But, oh my god, I hate to say this because I actually really do like the show. That's not what happens. Like, at all, honestly, and it kind of sucks. See, while I do like the idea of Stolitz, a problem I have with it is that a lot of what happens, like in terms of development, is more told to us than actually shown. Like, they'll try to gaslight the audience into believing that's what happened when we clearly didn't see any of that. Or even if they do know that's not the truth, well, the narrative doesn't imply it. Or it'll happen off screen. Or worse yet, it'll happen in the background, which is not all that similar from what Hazbin Hotel tends to do, especially with, say, Velvet being an influencer for roofie potions, and that really hurts Stolitz. Heck, instead of saying they're both in the wrong, they've taken Stolitz's side, where arguably, even though I feel like they both are in the wrong, and they both have problems, Stolitz has caused more problems between them because he, as the higher-ranked demon, had more of a hand in this. But it's kind of ironic considering how much screen time this tends to take up. And honestly, I don't mind if it did overtake the narrative a little bit. I just feel like maybe they could have balanced it off a bit more. Like, I liked how Western Energy did it, or they could have done it like Unhappy Campers, where Blitz has to do something with Stolitz, while Millie and Moxie and Luna have to work together or something. But let's take a look at Ozzie's, for instance. Ozzie's was a highly pivotal episode for everybody. Earlier in Season 1, during Truth Seekers, Moxie made it clear he felt that Blitz did not care about him, but Blitz and him, after the Truth Gas, shared a tender moment and agreed to respect each other from then on, and make the point they actually do.
Because I know what you're capable of, Mox. You care too much about what everyone thinks, except for me, because, you know, my opinion is correct, but just keep doing a good job.
And yet, Blitz broke his trust. You'd expect him to be salty around Blitz, angry around Blitz, or for Millie, for the first time in the series, to actually be upset at her boss, and do something more than just giving him the stink eye. But no, the next time we see them all together and seeing stars, none of them are angry or uncomfortable or anything. Heck, again, you would expect Blitz to do what he does and double down on how he behaves around Stolitz, especially making it clear that he just views Stolitz as a sweaty chore like paying a bill or doing laundry. Perhaps whenever Stolitz does want to atone or at least talk to him, Blitz could shrug him off, like, "Blitzy, I really want to talk to you about what happened last night. Sorry, I'm killing some grandpa in some fancy pants and shorty shorts. Please, can you come over to my house? We need to talk tonight." No, I promised my daughter I'd take her to the Hellmart to break $50,000 worth of TVs and buy her some waffle fries. Sorry, Solace. Seeing stars involves Octavia stealing the grimoire and running away to the human world to see a meteor shower, since Stolitz completely forgot about it because he had to deal with his divorce from Stella and rubbing her nose and how much he gets to hate her now.
Well, how was I supposed to know you can spell? I've never seen you read.
Of course, at this point, IMP has no reliable way to get to Earth without the book, so Blitz is forced to call Stolitz. But Blitz isn't scared to call him because he's dodging him or he doesn't want to see him outside of their arrangement, nor is he salty he has to be around Stolitz after the fight. He's just super upset because Stolitz is their benefactor and it's best to not piss him off, which he would be doing in any other episode.
Okay, good talk. Bye. Wow, that actually went better than I thought.
Makes sense. But the whole time they're together, nothing happens that, again, wouldn't happen in any other episode. Perhaps maybe you can argue they're putting their issues on the back burner because Via is obviously the more pressing matter, but no, they have no problem being together. They're fine just walking and talking in the human world. Like, Stolitz even gives Blitz a pep talk about how good he is in bed, and need I repeat myself?
Blitz, if your performance on stage is half as good as it is in bed, you'll leave them breathless. Now hurry up and wow them so we can get back to finding Via.
If I didn't tell you about Ozzie's, you would just assume it's a normal episode when it shouldn't be. And honestly, outside of him having to move Stella out of the house, it really feels that way. Like, it feels like it was supposed to be a season 1 episode that either got held over, or they couldn't find a use for until then, or they wanted to remind the audience that Via is still a character, because a lot of it does feel like that. Like how Stolitz can't find Via, who has the book in her possession, even if truth seekers imply that's how he knew Blitz was in trouble.
Stole it. Well, hold on. How did you know that we needed help?
I have my ways, darling.
Or how arguably they had better things to do and they're just wasting it on pointless side quests like a Millie and Moxie song, or Blitz recording a guest spot on a sitcom. And yeah, I really don't like the whole speech angle. Although I do like the scene like where he freaks out in front of the kid or where Stolitz throws the water bottle, but let me explain. Perhaps Stolitz could say everything he wanted to say after he woke up and took his happy pills. Like, "I love you, Blitz," because Blitz hasn't been able to perform in years and he gets massive stage fright. But rather than say that, he just says how good he is in bed, which really that's not all that different from how he would normally act.
Break a leg, darling!
And remember, Aussies? Well, believe it or not, it all got resolved through quick text messages. Blink and you miss it text messages in Western Energy. I'll read them. "I'm sorry if anything I said or did may have offended you tonight. It's whatevs. Next time you come over, maybe we could talk about what happened at Aussie's." Why? "I'm sorry, never mind. It's not a big deal. I'm just worried about you. You seem very upset and you took off so fast, but maybe I read too much into that. I'm glad that that's not the case. I wasn't upset either. I just wanted to make sure you weren't. And obviously you can handle any stupid joke a clown can make." What the hell does that mean? "Osmodeus can be very invasive in his humor, but I thought it was pretty funny myself, what he said about me at least. I enjoy being the subject of jest." Liar. "Maybe you can say mean things to me too next time you come over, if you want." Sure. Like, yeah, it tells us a lot about Blitz, like how he keeps his emotional distance from Stolitz, and how Stolitz really wants it to be more, so he's like pouring out his heart and soul. But what if we actually got to see that? Like, maybe at the end of Seeing Stars, they finally decide to talk about Ozzies, and we see the pair texting like they did in Western Energy. But before we move on to the next episode, I want to bring up a quick point. As a Goetia prince, Stolitz has many servants in his employ, who are all naturally imps like Blitz. And see how he treats his butler, who we have named Pringles, like furniture. Like, as early as season 1, Stella is like throwing him around because of the cheating, and he's not even like, oh, I'm sorry, Pringles, or like, nothing. He just expects him to be a glorified phone holder, which he does like 2 minutes later.
I'll arrange our security.
Security for a theme park?
We're rich and we're hot. People want our money and our bodies.
I just bring this up because I feel like one point the show could do is have Stolitz realize he's not getting better at racial relations with imps. He's just getting better at behaving around this one imp because he's one of the good ones.
Treat me like one of your little butler imps! You can't just dismiss me like that!
I mean, outside of treating his servants like that, we saw how he acted in the Harvest Moon Festival. Like, talking down to them, literally. Like, none of them like him.
Greetings, tiny wrath-ring imps. I hereby welcome you all to another year of celebrating the spoils of your labor.
But anyways, season 2, after this, has something of a subplot of Stolitz realizing their relationship is unfair to Blitz, and if he wants Blitz to love him for him, he needs to remove the component that he's only with him because he has to be. Which, okay, that is good. That's a good first step. To do this, he tries to get Blitz an Asmodean crystal, a legal way for demons to enter the human world, provided they have work to do up there. I mean, even Barbie Wire has one. In Oops, he formally gets a meeting with Ozzie, who makes it clear to him he knows what's up.
And I'm not sure if it's a mutual thing.
Lust shouldn't be about force. It's an art to be earned and enjoyed.
But Ozzie reluctantly refuses the request because his own boyfriend hates Blitz with all of his being. Around the same time, Fizz and Blitz meet for the first time in 15 years and get kidnapped by Stryker and Crimson. When they're in prison, they start to talk about how they're both in relationships with noble demons. Romantic relationships.
He'll call me and try and see how my day was, and he'll pretend to care about me and comment on my photos, and
Oh, well, that's definitely your clue right there.
I know, right?
Wait, what? Could've fooled me.
Sounds like you just hate him for being a prince. Because no one, and I mean no one, pretends to care that much just for a cheap lay.
Okay, I didn't want to contradict you, Fizzy, because you're my favorite character, and you're my constant companion when I go to cons, but I disagree. Blitz has plenty of reason to think that Stolitz is just living out a non-consensual fantasy. Stolitz even said in the circus, which to be fair, Blitz wasn't around for, what they had was an uncomfortable lie, just an escapist daydream to get him through an unhappy marriage. And that's part of why he was so in love with him. I mean, he was so lonely growing up, he convinced himself that Blitz was his best friend, even if they only had one playdate together. Like, it's even implied that Blitz forgot they were friends.
What are you doing? I barely remember your name.
It's Blitz.
Oh, didn't it have an O at the end? Like a clown name?
And again, a problem with Stolitz trying for more, which besides telling Blitz he can come visit him in Western Energy, which I doubt Blitz would do considering the likely heightened security and the fact that the last time Blitz tried to visit somebody in the hospital, he was denied, it's told not shown. We're never shown this happening outside of Instagram photos, which are stated to be non-canon fun. If anything, we're shown Blitz ignoring Stolitz unless he has to. Every time Stolitz calls him, he's not like, yay, Stolitz! He's like, damn it, it's Stolitz! And honestly, this could have been a good moment too. Like, maybe Blitz does realize that Stolitz does love him, he just has a really bad way of showing it. Kinda like Blitz does to Moxie and Millie. Maybe he enjoys that Stolitz calls him, laughs at his jokes, and cares about him. And maybe he cares about Stolitz too, but he's too blinded by rage. Because whenever it comes to smush buddies, one always knows knows it's just physical, and the other becomes way too attached to the other and catches feelings like an STD. But a wasted opportunity in this episode is that Stolitz never finds out that Blitz was kidnapped either, because in Apology Tour, he gives Blitz crap for not telling him about Stryker, who kidnapped the former. Like, imagine the shock. Like, he even sees Stryker at one point, and he's not like, oh dear, that's that guy who kidnapped me, Ozzie. He's just like, oh, sorry, Ozzie. Look, I'll help you. You want me to help you? Especially since Stolitz spends the whole episode trying to help Ozzie ransom Fizzarolli. Especially considering this moment.
I stopped him the first time, didn't I?
The first time? You knew someone was trying to assassinate me?
No, I stopped him.
No offense, people were trying to do that in Lululand. That's why you hired Blitz and his team. But because Fizz forgave Blitz, he was willing to let bygones be bygones by giving him the crystal. Stolitz receives it, and then, after a quick short, we get the full moon, where Stolitz and Blitz can't wait for the full moon. Stolitz because he's finally going to give Blitz the crystal and ask him to be his boyfriend. And Blitz because, hey, it's the only time he feels like an equal to Stolitz. He's like Haru from Beastars. But we find out something interesting. Stolitz has been letting him skip out the last few moons.
Started giving me more ways how to be all like, oh, Blitzy, I know it's the full moon tonight, but you don't have to come if you don't want to, Blitzy, so I've just been taking breaks.
Where did this come from? Actually, Kitty, these text messages in Western Energy. Oh, well, thank you, Catherine. Wait a minute. Do you plan to visit tomorrow? I know you've been busy and working hard. Maybe if you'd prefer, we can skip the bedroom and just relax. I'm sure you need a break. Whatever you want, it's your night. If you're not up for it or too tired, that is perfectly fine. No pressure. I don't have anything with the grimoire till next month. Maybe. Oh, there's more. Maybe instead of our usual arrangement on the full moon, we could probably catch up this week maybe. Monday might be busy. I wouldn't want to bother you. You can always drop off the book on the full moon and I can leave it for you if you are too tired to do anything. But I would like to see you. Okay. What? Seriously? All of this was in the background? I'm sorry, this could have been so awesome, like the most pivotal moment. Screw the cage scene and Oops. Screw the pep talk and seeing stars. Screw Blitz ghosting him in Western Energy. And before you say anything, yes, he prioritized Stolitz. This is what we needed to see. Stolitz realized their relationship was transactional. He was basically holding him hostage, and that was bad. But this would have been so great from a storytelling perspective. Like, imagine how ironic it would be, like how sad, especially considering the dramatic irony they go for in the full moon. And honestly, it could have been easily added to any of the other episodes that aired in season 2, X's and O's. Listen, Blitz, the full moon is tonight, but I've got a headache. If you don't want to come over, you don't have to, but I don't mind, I could just take an aspirin. Okay, good, I wasn't gonna come over anyway. I was hanging out with this rich mafia dude. Later, losers. Unhappy campers. Blitz, I just saw a commercial for the best movie. It has horses. You want to go see it instead of, like, doing it on the full moon? Sorry, I'm kind of busy at the moment. Wow, Stolitz, this hospital you're at is great. I love the mashed potatoes. You should get hurt more often. Oh, you still want to come over for the full moon? I mean, you don't have to. Sorry, yeah, I have family stuff. It's my sister. You know how it is. Oh, wait, you don't have any siblings. Sorry, bye. Or, oops. Hey, Blitz, do you want to go out for some coffee? Sorry, I heard Greed has the best coffee in all of hell. What asshole has 10 dogs? And finally, the mid-season finale. Blitz, we really need to talk. Sorry, I'm getting another call. Hey, Oz, what's up? Oh, of course I'll help you and Fizz. Yeah, sorry, Stolitz, I got a job tonight. Blitz, are you on TV? No, I'm busy, sorry. This might have been a bit of a tangent, but see how easy it was for them to insert this? I mean, you snuck in all of those background references. And this is bad because a big dramatic irony is that Luna thinks Stolitz is getting bored of Blitz, even if I'm like 98% sure she wasn't being serious. She just meant it as a joke.
Yeah, man. If someone wants to see you less and less, big red flag. If they give you chances to ditch, they probably want out themselves. Just want to be more passive-aggressive about it.
Which would be bad because if Stolitz wants the book back permanently, IMP is gonna starve. So Blitz spends the whole episode trying to impress Stolitz, be it dressing up or going to Lust and buying a whole bunch of toys, which I know people hate that part of the episode. Like, I just find it funny that Cherub thinks, like, what's normal for us is like, oh my god, he's gonna kill someone. I laughed so freaking hard. Like, he's gonna use that on an innocent person? And even if it is transactional, it is kind of sweet to see how Blitz can be. Like, he tries to keep Stolitz's needs in mind. Even if you can argue he's just doing this to try to show up, but yeah, it's really nice. Like, when Fizz offers to give Blitz some new beads, which I don't think he charged Blitz for. I think he's just doing this out of the goodness of his heart. And Blitz is very appreciative of it, but he has to decline.
We have got these new beads. Ooh, they're made of real obsidian.
Oh, that's beautiful. But Stolitz never really seemed into the beads.
Alrighty, not into the bead.
But yeah, even though I make this point in a couple of other Helluverse videos, I like the point that they say BDSM isn't that creep you see in 50 Shades of Grey. It's about trust, knowing your limits, communicating, and making sure it's in a safe, fun, controlled environment. I mean, if you watch a horror movie, it's fun to watch the girl get chased by the chainsaw, but you would never want to be the girl in the chainsaw. But finally, we get to the most pivotal episode, the full moon. Oh god, it hurts. It actually hurts my heart. I mean, Blitz is showing him all of his crap. He's like, oh my god, I want to do it so bad, but I know we can't. I'm sorry, we have to do it like this. But I think the problem is, well, miscommunication from all of these guys. Stolitz tried to frame this as a test to see whether or not Blitz would want him when he should have been upfront with him. For example, he starts with, he wants the book back permanently, but he doesn't say why.
I've made up my mind.
Stolitz, please, I need this book, please. I need this book, Stolitz. I will do anything.
Remember, Blitz needs this book, and if he doesn't have it, he's nothing. He literally starts panicking. Maybe Stolitz thinks oh, he'll be so surprised and so grateful, but no, that's actually kind of sick when you think about it. He should have said, Blitz, I want to give you something instead of the book, and it's way better. So I will need the book back, but this is for you to permanently keep. Still, he gives him the crystal and makes the point that he technically is breaking off their arrangement because he wants it to be fair to Blitz.
I'm giving you this because I care very deeply for you. And I have for some time.
But he doesn't outright say, I'm giving you this because I love you as more than just a toy, and I have for some time. So of course, Blitz doesn't know what to say and thinks Stolitz is just role-playing, and of course, reacts to how he probably thinks he's supposed to act.
This is an interesting role play. Never done this one, but I can get into it. All right, how's this? Okay. Oh, Stolitz, I'll stay with you. I love you so much.
Thank you for indulging me in the shippers, if only for a little while. Oh, I'm sorry. The thing is, rather than actually talk it out, Stolitz decides to cut off Blitz like a diseased tumor.
I have wanted you for so long. The fact that you couldn't believe that I might have these feelings about you, that your first instinct is that it's always about...
Well, I mean... Okay, I don't want to be that person, Stolitz, because I do like you, Stolitz. I cosplay as you, and Bryce Pinkham is super cool whenever I meet him at cons. But you were the one who always made it about that. But I will refer y'all to Sarcastic Horse's video on the matter, since I feel like he does a much better job at explaining this. Honestly, at times I feel like he's a much better reviewer because I have too much bias. But the point is, yeah, this goes back to the whole gaslighting idea. Maybe you can argue Stolitz thinks what he's doing was flirting, but no, and each and every time, Blitz explicitly made it clear that he was uncomfortable with the flirting, and he kept doing it anyway. So yeah, I don't really buy this, and I don't like the argument that Stolitz was doing all of this because he was off his meds, because I'm somebody who does take medicine daily for ADHD and for PMDD, and occasionally I take one medicine so I don't get anxiety attacks. So yeah, I don't like the whole argument because you're still responsible for your actions. I will outright say, if I miss my medicine, I'm sorry if I act up, so people know I don't really mean it, but yeah. Honestly, fun fact, if you don't take sertraline for a couple of days, your period comes a week early and you start spotting. I shouldn't have said that. Of course, Blitz isn't cool with what happened, and feeling like he no longer has anything left to lose, he tells Stolitz how he's felt about him pretty much since episode 1, and wow, props to Brandon Rogers. It goes understated, he is such a good actor. He should do guest spots on other shows. That would be so cool.
Every time, you can just play with our feelings because we're smaller and not as important. Well, I'm not letting you. Let's go!
Then rather than get that Blitz has a legitimate problem with him, Stolitz continues to be Stolitz.
I think so very highly of you. I didn't realize you think so low of me.
Well, oh god. To this end, he poofs Blitz outside of his house, and the episode ends. Now, you can argue that Stolitz didn't really mean this, outside of the pill thing. He was just emotional, and sometimes when you have an argument, yeah, you kind of forget get, I don't know how to put it, like you get kind of entangled in like that whole argument bubble. But this leads into Apology Tour, an episode I have certain thoughts about. Like next to Seeing Stars, it's probably my least favorite episode of the whole show. In the time since this episode came out, I have been a bit less biased against it, but yeah, I still have some thoughts. The next day, Stolitz goes to cool off by his pool. How big is his frickin' house? Where he's confronted by Blitz, and Blitz kind of states why he wants Stolitz. Because he loves him, I mean.
Oh, sorry, this entire time I assumed the worst because I was convinced a prince could never love someone like me, and I let my self-hatred stop me from apologizing to anyone I could never care about.
Yeah, that. But yeah, I'm not a super huge fan of this. I do like that Stolitz is setting limits, but I feel like the episode is still kind of biased for Stolitz. When it's arguing Blitz did a bad thing by rejecting him, when Blitz has every reason to reject him. Like, I can get it if they make the point Stolitz thinks he's entitled to do all this, but it doesn't. Like this scene right here.
You get off to getting plowed by people you look down on.
I don't look down on you. How many times do I... When have I ever...
I don't know, Stolitz, when have you, except all the time. It's like breathing for you. But Stolitz hypothetically asks if Blitz has apologized to anybody, especially considering how he now has a party dedicated to hating him, which I'll get there when I get there. And this is why I think the episode should have come earlier in the season. Thank you, Sarcastic Chorus, for bringing this up. Picture it like this. After Ozzie's, the pair don't meet again until Stolitz has the crystal, and he gives it to him, but because he's still bitter, he rejects Stolitz or he says the wrong thing. And then they break up, and this leads to the whole apology tour, where Blitz realizes that people actually hate him and they kind of have a reason too. And then apology tour afterwards could come Unhappy Campers, where it could explain why he goes after Barbie. She's his sister, he hurt her by killing their mother and destroying their circus, and as his twin, they have a weird bond. But Blitz won't get that apology because he's reminded again people hate him and saying sorry isn't gonna cut it. Contrary to what Charlie says, then he could just give up on saying sorry and then, spur of the moment, run into Fizz and be forgiven just by being himself. And as we saw in the mid-season finale, Blitz wasn't totally forgiven. Sure, Ozzie is comfortable calling him up to bodyguard Fizz, and Fizz is fine with calling Blitz by his preferred name instead of Blitzo, but it wasn't until he actually saw that Blitz gave a damn about caring about him by shooting the Hellhound and protecting him from Bernie and being like, congrats that you guys are a couple, that he realized Blitz really was his friend. Like, he even said like, yeah, I know you didn't mean it, but it's been like 15 years, so I can't just get over it overnight. And yeah, by the full moon, it's great they're like great friends, like laughing and joking like when they were kids, since forgiveness takes time. So yeah, it kind of felt upsetting that Blitz couldn't do that with Stolitz. It would have been such a win if he were to sorry Fizz after Stolitz tells him he's a bad person. And hey, Blitz, apologize besides words. Now, I hate to say this because I do like Verosika, but I think a strength and weakness of this episode is her. Look, it's cool we got more Verosika content because we are lacking. I love me some Ver. I even cosplayed as her a couple of times, and funny story, that's one of my fans, Unheard Siren Incorporated, go follow them. But anyhow, yeah. Let's start with how Verosika is a weakness. I think it was a mistake to basically have her be a cheerleader for Stolitz. For instance, she invites Stolitz because she's the freshest ex per her, and it's nice she's comforting and everything, but she's somebody misunderstanding a situation and inserting herself into it. From the way she pieces it, or the way she probably thinks, Stolitz and Blitz were a couple, and Blitz broke his heart into a bunch of crackly little pieces. Even though I have questions about how she found out, but look, that's not at all what happened, and I hate how the episode acts like it is. It's the same problem I have with Alone at Sea from Steven Universe, where a character who doesn't understand the situation inserts themselves into it, and because of that, it kind of muddles the message. Like, it would have been cool if perhaps Stolitz started to realize, like, wait, Blitz has a point. I mean, I do treat him kind of badly, and even if I like him, I shouldn't be doing that. And that kind of happens during the song where he's like, oh my god, what if part of this is on me? And Verosika and Stolitz are like, no, he's a bad person. And that's how the episode treats it. Like, that's not at all what happened. Like, I just saw the full moon. Like, at one point, Verosika tries to help Stolitz by having him come up on stage and say how he's feeling, but he keeps insisting he doesn't want to do it. But he's forced to. Like, no, let him do it at his own pace. And he's put on the stand, and he does the song All To You, which, yeah, okay, I do like the song. It's one of my favorites. I listen to it a lot, especially, like, when I'm writing or I'm on the train to school, but I don't don't like it in relation to this episode. Like, it should have been an epiphany moment for Stolitz, but instead, he treats it like Blitz is to blame. Like, when they were kids and Blitz was bought and sold to him to play with like a puppy, he should have been like afterwards, like, no, I can't do this. I was bad to him too. You guys are all wrong. I'm sorry. I need to speak to Blitz. Like, yeah, I like they talk after, but they realize, yeah, maybe they don't work together. Blitz thinks because of the song he hurt Stolitz, and he thinks he'll just continue to hurt him. But I like this point here.
I actually am, sorry. I don't want to be this way. Not forever.
I feel like this is how they should have ended off. Not Blitz apologizing because he's forced to or he's a bad person, but because he does like Stolitz. And maybe while they can't date, they can still stay in contact because at its core, Stolitz was about two messed up individuals dealt a bad-handed life, and they gave it a bad one back, but they're becoming better people for the sake of one another. Still, Blitz allows Stolitz to dance with a random dude who isn't him, which I'm gonna find interesting down the line, because Stolitz never actually learned that he treated Blitz badly. He just realized he kept the relationship going even though Blitz wasn't comfortable with the whole thing. Imagine if Stolitz treats that guy the same way he treated Blitz, and unlike Blitz, the guy actually leaves him or stands up for himself, and wallowing in self-pity won't help him. Like, I don't think he was a bad person, or he was just gonna be a one-night stand, or maybe he thought it was gonna be a one-night stand and Stolitz thought it was gonna be more. I don't know. I just think it's gonna be the jump Stolitz needs in order to be a better person. Oh my god, imagine how ironic it would be if when we get the actual episode, like when Via's like, you don't love me, your mother, you only like this random dude, you only love him, she actually means the random dude. But here's where I like Veronica. I think she puts out a good lesson for Blitz. But most of these people, he's forgiven, but he's not forgotten. Well, that's true for most people. And the best thing he can do right now is feel remorse and be a good friend to Stolitz. And while she does still feel better towards him, the best thing she can do is help other people he screwed over.
Hosting this party for everyone else you've over. At least I can help others cope with the you did.
But yeah, that's where we leave things for now. I wonder where Stolitz is gonna go from here. I think the pair will get back together though. One, the show has 2 more seasons, and I feel like they're probably gonna end with getting married or something. And second, there is a scene in the trailer where we see Blitz attacking somebody while Stolitz clutches onto him. My best guess is Andrelphus is gonna make sure Stolitz loses everything, and as a result, he'll be forced to stay with Blitz and Luna, where he'll actually start to appreciate Blitz more and stop thinking like a romance novel. But a gal can dream. Anyhow, bye.